Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Brad, new name here.
Yeah, hello. How are
Nice to
you?
see you, buddy.
I'm from New Zealand. I'm at KubeCon,
Wow.
so yeah, I've got some time to come to the event.
Great. Sounds good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's just wait another minute or two, see if more people joins. So if you have access to the minutes of meeting, you can add your names there, participants list. I just add mine. While waiting.
I've pasted the one in the chat if you
Good.
don't
Thanks,
know.
Matthias.
Thanks.
So I heard from Andrea that he will not join. He had some conflicting meeting. I haven't heard from anyone else. Haven't looked into Slack recently. Let's see. No input there.
I think Steve Taylor's coming.
Okay, good. You have been in contact with him today, or?
Yeah, he mentioned in a chat that he should be coming. So
Good.
hopefully he comes. Yeah.
But I always say KubeCon hasn't started yet. It's on Wednesday, or when does it start? Or Tuesday?
Yeah, it starts maybe in 24 hours, but there's some pre-events going on at the moment as well.
Right. Right. Hi, Tracy. Hi, CD Foundation. Who is behind the CD Foundation logo?
I'm guessing that's going to be Cara.
Hi. Yes, happy to
Hi,
meet you
Cara.
all.
Hi, nice to see you. Great. So it's 4 minutes past. I guess we can get started then. I made some effort to update the agenda for today, just earlier today. So let's go through it. You want me to share my screen, or do you see the agenda yourselves?
Why don't you share your screen?
Share it? Sure. No problem. There we go.
Beautiful.
I hope you see it now.
Yep.
Good. So we have some action items from last week, but also actually all of those are part of things we will discuss today as well. So I thought we could take them as they come in the agenda, if that's okay. We will say something about the name, the new protocol name or the product name we have, and what the next steps are there, what the current status is. I have no real updates from CDF and SIG Events, or CDF is us, but SIG Events is us, but anyway. don't really know what to put on this bullet today. We should probably add some vocabulary input from the workstream, vocabulary workstream. And we can say some words about the KubeCon this week. And we have some design discussions to look into. So I hope we come there as well. So we don't spend all meeting on discussing the name and everything like that. So some of you were here 2 weeks ago when we set the name. So the name is CD Events for the project and the protocol, I would say, same. Then we will most probably have other like projects or sub-projects or tools in this ecosystem where the protocol is used, and those could of course have different names. We said that the domain name could be events.cd, and I think we said last time that we thought it was free. Andrea was supposed to ask CDF if it could be bought to us, and I know that he's trying to sort that out, but hasn't really. Maybe I should say as well, Andrea couldn't join today, for those of you who missed that in the beginning. He was busy with other things. And I have not gotten a reply from him on my chat with him on the actual buying of the domain name. So there's no more input there.
I put in the chat just now, I think that's the right document. Let me make sure. And it just, yeah. So there's a doc that the Linux Foundation needs for understanding kind of it's a creative brief for our CD events. I did some work on it. So it's out there if you want to add your thoughts.
Yeah, I have it in the agenda actually quite soon as well. It's there, so we'll come there. But just first, before we come there, we will just rehash that we have already the CD events organization in GitHub registered. We did that last time. I haven't done anything actually on that since then at all. So it's still empty. We haven't added any repositories or any people to it, more than some of us who were here on the last meeting. But I guess we can do that as we go when needed. We said that in the event type, it should be the reverse DNS, which is then cd.events if we will get events.cd as domain name. And I know that Steve brought this up together with Andrea on the project proposal. And I think that was quite positively accepted, or not accepted yet, but conceived. So that will probably happen when we propose the project, we guess so at least. And it was also discussed about this creative artists, which Tracy has mentioned as well. So I guess we'll come there for the creative brief, as you mentioned, Tracy. So I think Andrea put this document up and put some introductory information in it. So this is to be used, as we understand it, to create a new logo for us, an icon or logo. So I made a few updates to it, and I know Tracy, you made some updates as well to it. I don't know if we should go through it. We could add things here. There are quite a lot of information already. Have you had the time to look into this document, those of you who are in the meeting, except me and Tracy then? For example, Matthias or Kara?
Not in depth, but I skimmed through it a little bit.
Did you find anything directly that you would like to add or change or anything like that?
Not anything really that I could get on top of my mind.
So I guess we are supposed to provide whatever input this could be useful for the creative team to make a good logo out of this. So there are a lot of buzzwords and magnetic idea statements.
Was this based off of some
Yeah.
sort of form or template on what the creative team is looking for in terms of the input they want?
I'm not sure if all of this is actually written by Andrea by heart, or if some of this come from somewhere else. I'm not sure, but of course the introduction to each of the sections come from the template. Some kind of a template exists, I would guess. I wasn't actually involved when creating this document from the beginning, so I can't really say if all of this is from Andrea, or I guess it might be. I think he has he has added quite a lot of information that is valuable here. And in the end, there's also design suggestions where we can provide some ideas on what it could look like or something along these lines or whatever. So we have two different ideas here, or so that could be maybe used for basing the logo on, but of course anything else could be as well. And then we had the information, the note from Tracy as well on EV in the end. It's just a very, very good note as well.
Yeah, I would suggest if you have any thoughts, put it in there, because they're just trying to, we got to catch them up on everything we've spoken about. So even though they have their own little categories, if you just, add whatever comes up to mind, the more we can put in there, the
Yes.
easier it'll be for them.
I don't know how we should go about with this, if everyone should just write whatever they feel in this document, or if we should kind of review it before we actually send it to them. And I haven't even heard either if it's some kind of deadline for this, or maybe it's up to us. As soon as we're more or less done with this, they can start their works. But I guess we will continue that discussion on Slack. I guess most of you saw the post from Andrea was it a week ago or something? Maybe it was even 2 weeks ago, almost.
In the competition section,
September 29th.
in that competition section, do we want to put anything about cloud events? Not so much competition, but just being aware that this logo already exists, referencing cloud events, and then we want to differentiate.
Yeah, I think anything we any of those thoughts, I would just add to that document.
Okay.
So cloud events uses clouds, and we stated here that we should not be limited to be cloud native. So, but of course, in some sense, it would be maybe nice to have like cloud events part as a part of our logo, whatever. That could be one idea.
And it's just to
If
let
that's
the
possible.
design team know more context, like associated, projects and what their logos are.
All right, right, yeah, of course. So of course you can maybe add that. That's fine. That'd be great. I wouldn't say it's a competition maybe, but it's a complementary or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. Okay. Any more thoughts on this creative brief? I would suggest that you all look into this and add your comments. And I guess we will have discussions, as I said, on Slack before we actually submit it and say it's final.
Yes, don't be shy.
Let's go on then.
Yes, be shy.
Of course.
Put in,
True.
update whatever your thoughts might have been that are not reflected in there, because it'll be super helpful for them.
Yes, I agree. Okay, going on then. We also talked last time about Twitter account, and Andrea was supposed to register a Twitter account, and I checked with him today on that as well, and it's not done, but he's working on it. So apparently it's ongoing. We'll keep the action until next time then. Then I also realized that, of course, we need to update our README file in the SIG GitHub with links to these things. We could do it already now, stating the name and some more things maybe, but maybe we wait as well until we have some more things in place. But we shouldn't forget about it. That's what I could come up with when it comes to how to proceed setting the name everywhere. Do we have any other thoughts on what we should do now that we have a name?
Have we discussed anything on moving things over to the organization?
You mean to the GitHub organization from our SIG repo?
Yeah.
No, we haven't discussed that. Can add it here.
And then we did do a couple of discussions around kind of like what names we should have for the different repos, but did we have any conclusion there?
The names on the repos here, you mean, in the organization?
Yeah.
No, I don't recall any conclusions from that. Do you mean like some kind of guidelines on how to name things, or more what exact names to use for certain repositories?
I was thinking more of the names for the repositories, because I guess we're going to have one for the spec, as in Cloud Events, and then one for, we talked about having an experimental repository for the POC, and then there might be other repositories coming in.
Yeah. No, I didn't write any such notes from that last meeting. So should we take some such discussions now, maybe? Of course, what to move is one question, and then how to move it, or I mean, what project to create in the organization is another follow-up question. You know? We could maybe look into what we have today. And as I said, we have the POC and we have the specification draft. And I guess these should be moved.
We also have the SDK.
Right, the SDK, yeah. I guess the docs will more or less be what we keep here. And maybe, I don't know, presentations or something on SIG level more. So this will be quite thin going forward, I guess. Yeah,
I remember I discussed some things on the previous vocabulary meeting. I put the
okay.
link to the notes there.
Thanks. Well, I guess there's nothing stopping us from doing it right away. We should have a name, of course, of the repositories, or sorry, the projects. Apart from that, there's nothing stopping us from doing it now, I guess, if someone has the time and volunteers to do it. They discuss more about that in the vocabulary meeting, that it's more or less urgent or something like that to do it now. Or...
No, it was more of the namings. We talked about the spec, one repo of SDK, probably one repo for the website, where Steve talked about Hugo and Doxy, as you have for Telios. And I think it was also Protect on there. And also probably a repository for POX, so maybe an experimental repository.
And one for Evie, right, Tracy? The listener. Yes. But of course, we could start with moving the spec, maybe. There's nothing stopping us. I'm not sure if is it hard to rename a project in GitHub if you have created one. Maybe it's quite hard. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah, it's hard.
It's something you shouldn't do, right? Or
Not recommended, no.
yeah. So we should try to have quite good names before we do it then. I'm not sure
For
if
sure.
we need a voting process for it or anything like that, but we should at least discuss it in some sense. Were you saying something else, Brad, or no?
Oh, no.
Okay. So should we try to state the name of the spec repo? Should we call it spec then? Maybe that's quite normal to do it. How was the discussion, Matthias, on the vocabulary meeting about that? Was it some kind of consensus around the name spec, or was that just a suggestion?
I think we come from spec was from Cloud Events use, Cloud Events -spec.
Right.
So
So why not?
yeah, and the SDKs were also kind of like from there. So
Yeah.
I could vote for spec.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think spec's
So-
really good. It's simple. It explains exactly what it is, and people don't get confused.
Anyone who is against should scream now. You said here SDK something, XYZ, yeah. SDK dash something.
Yeah, that's the same. That's also taken from Cloud Events.
Yep. Sounds reasonable to me. So should that be like SDK-go then, or what kind of SDKs are we looking for? Is the XYZ some kind of
Currently, we only
is the
have
language?
SDK. Yeah. So I pasted an example to how Cloud Events SDK Go is named in the chat.
Right.
And if you go to the spec and scroll down on the README, you can see the other SDKs. Actually, that's the link if you want to see how the other ones are named.
Okay. Right. So yeah, I guess we go for that. Or is it now too too similar to cloud events? So people can more or less have a hard time distinguishing between cloud events and CD events. It's very similar in the name as well. Is that a problem?
I don't think so. I think aligning there is a good place to be. I don't think that they're close enough to be confusing though.
Right. Excuse me. Let's just some link there. Where do I have it? Paste this link instead. I think that was right. Yeah. Okay, good. So then we should go on creating these repos. I guess I can do it since I must be able to do it at least in the organization. So you can consider that being done hopefully quite soon. And we'll see who should be added as maintainers of them and such things to be sorted out. Yeah, good. Then I guess we can get started there to move the things over there after that. Should we set up some action on someone to move it as well? Or should that be done? I don't know. Do we have an SDK? Yeah, we have the SDK already in sorry, not there, of course. How much is here? There is something already. And of course there is a structure underneath, but this could be changed as well if we want later on. There is nothing stopping there, I guess. If we see a reason for it. Yeah, let's not put an action on moving things yet. We'll see when that could be done. So anything else on the name or any follow-up items on what to do now that the name is there? No. Okay, let's go on then. Workstream updates from the vocabulary. I wasn't there again. Sorry. I don't know, Matthias, you were there. Was there someone else there? Maybe not. I think Eric was there, right? I think I saw. And Andrea, or?
Yeah. Shruti was there also. So basically,
You want to say something?
yeah, a little bit of short instruction. You have the notes, but we discussed a little bit around the names and so on. We talked about, as I said, about the website. Andrea went through, showed us to create a brief. We did talk about GitHub and GitLab. but we thought the GitHub would make more sense as all the other CDF products are there. And then it was discussions about repositories, license. We said Apache 2 somewhere, so that one there. We talked about the POC. Currently, we have some things about the POC is outside of it. Mauricio has it in his process repository, and Tecton CD has some parts there. And that was the idea about the experimental repo. And hopefully put everything in there so you can just clone it at once. I pointed out that Cloud Events has a primer document in the spec repo, which talks about a little bit about the design decisions behind and some information, but rationale behind. Cloud Events is not part of the specification, so if you're interested in those parts, you can go check it out there. So maybe we should have something of that in our also. Then we talked about Jenkins. We're expanding, talking about expanding the POC. Shruti has been creating this Cloud Events plugin for Jenkins. And we talked a little bit on how to expand that one using our events, or bring that one into the POC actually. So we talked about the events that it's sending and how it maps to us, as you see there. The only thing we didn't actually map, we had this new job created deleted event that we were a little bit unaware of should have. Jenkins has some node events where we didn't really have anything exactly the same. And that is what I can remember. It says plan for pipeline stage events. I don't remember what was said there. Yeah, we'll probably get back to it sometime. And yeah, Eric has on the wiki. Eric created if you click on the AP there, he has created in the no, we should review add recurring agenda items to review the AP on the wiki. There. So there we have all the different discussions and so on. This is a summary of what we have resolved and what we need to check out and so on. So a little bit of a summary there. And that is what I remember of it currently.
Yeah, that link to the vocabulary discussions, or the discussion points, is already in this meeting notes for the SIG as well on the end here, sign discussions. And when it comes to the node event that Shruti brought up, she also made a post on that in the Slack channel, and I added that as well here on the environment type event. So we might come back to that later if we have time on the meeting. Okay, thanks, Matthias. Now it strikes me that we discuss more or less the same things in several meetings, and it's maybe a bit awkward. To some extent, it's with different people in the different meetings. We should try to clean that, I think, or make it better structured so we know what to discuss in what meetings. So I think it's valuable if the vocabulary meeting could focus on the vocabulary mostly and not need to talk too much. Of course, now everything is new when it comes to new name and repository and such things, so that's quite natural, I guess. But we should try to make that a more clear distinguishment between the different meetings. We know what to be expected of the meetings. But anyway, thanks Matthias for that input. Anything to add from someone on that? No. So meetups and conferences. Yes. Now I guess Tracy, you've added this now.
We have
What is
our,
expected of us?
yeah,
Hmm?
you know, it's just an open discussion. I don't, you know, kind of like we did last time. We did a SIG. Think of it as a SIG, like a SIG meetup at KubeCon. Everybody should have gotten an invite, and you should be registered for KubeCon, I'm assuming. Kara, you might be able to help us a little bit more on this, but you might be unclear how this works. Because I didn't see like a Zoom invite in that invite. So I assume we just have to show up to the booth.
Yes, I believe that's what
Mhm.
happens. And if you need KubeCon tickets, Jackie actually has some extras that she can share if you're working at the booth. You know, if you're at the booth, that's so if you need to, then ping her on Slack. And then I believe you can just go to the booth at that point and sign into the booth. I have a slightly different path for it, so I'm not sure what exactly to tell you, but that's usually how that works. And then from what I can see on my end, your slot is about a half an hour. It's quite special. There's apparently only 6 slots the CDF could give out, and you know, event SIG is very important, so you have one. But it is some sort of live booth. So as Tracy said, you'll be able to interact as if it was a SIG meeting, or do a demo, or whatever it is that you would like to do during that half an hour.
I almost feel like, you know, I think the vocabulary has really kind of taken form. I wonder if we can just do a discussion around the vocabulary.
Do we think that people will come 11 sharp and stay the whole half an hour, or do you think people will come and go during the time?
You know,
I mean,
I don't think we have any idea how that's going to, since we've not done this, and I don't know how much we have pushed it. I was going to start pushing it on Wednesday morning, so people, you know, see that through their Twitter feeds. But I really don't know what to expect. I have one today, a 30-minute, just meet the general board. So you know, I don't know if there'll be anybody there even, to be quite honest. Especially today. Today's like I guess the booth's open today. Apparently they do.
Yeah, it does. There's
I
very
will
little
attend.
traffic on the virtual booths, and apparently there's real virtual fatigue. So the reported thing among booths at different conferences is that, in fact, if anything, traffic is decreasing. But by all means, like, you know, get out on Twitter and say we're going to have this conversation. You know, if you are at KubeCon virtually, or come join us. We're going to be talking about SIG, you know, CD events and the vocabulary we're developing, whatever it is. Also, I just want to point out that it says 11 on the calendar. From my understanding, that 11 means 11 o'clock in LA. So that's Pacific Standard Time. So it is very different for us in Europe.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, just so you know.
Yeah. So it's Los Angeles time here, yeah. I must admit, but I'm not registered to KubeCon myself, and I didn't actually plan to attend KubeCon this year, except for being on this booth if I was, somehow needed. And I think it would, of course, be good to be there on the booth, but then I also realized that since I'm not registered and I might not be able to show up in anything else than this booth, maybe I shouldn't take a ticket just for that. Even though we could get it maybe.
Well, I don't know if you can still register, but it's free if you want to, if you register just for like the keynotes and the virtual booths. But Cara, do you think Jackie could get him registered today?
Yes, I think so. Jackie is in LA. She's at KubeCon, so she might be hard to get hold of, but if you Slack her, I'm sure she'll see it sooner or later. And so definitely do. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a ticket, even if you can only interact with a few events happening around CDCon.
Let me send you
I
her
mean,
email.
Thanks.
Let me find her email really quick.
Yeah, so if I get registration, I guess you can expect me to be there. I haven't heard of anything. Anyone else? It sounds like you, Tracy, will be there, and I guess Kara, you as well, then, or?
Yes, virtually, but yes.
Yeah, of course. So will I. Do we know of anyone else from the SIG? Matthias, have you registered?
Nope.
So there's Jackie's email. I would suggest you, if she's got some spots, go ahead and grab them.
I'm not sure if Andrea. Yeah, Andrea. I think he will speak during the conference. If I
Yeah,
wasn't mistaken.
he should be registered.
He will be registered, of course, and I guess I expect him to be there, even though it's afternoon or maybe night time, even in Sweden or in Europe. But he's in the UK, so it's not that late for him. At least it's 1 hour before us.
And you could, and at the worst case, you can just register for the you can register yourself for the free ticket for the virtual side.
Yeah.
I think it's, I think that you can get a ticket just to go to the virtual booth and do the keynotes.
Yeah. If someone has the link to that, you can add it to the minutes later on as well. Otherwise, we'll find it, unless we can get tickets from Jackie. Good. So I hope I'll meet you there then on Wednesday at least. Anything else to mention about KubeCon? As you said, Tracy, I'm not sure we can really prepare to have a presentation for 1.5 an hour.
No, I don't think we should try to do a prepare it. I really don't. I think that if we treated it just like we did just a minute ago and just bring up the vocabulary doc and start having a conversation about the vocabulary doc, unless somebody has specific questions. I don't think we have to put together a PowerPoint, maybe somebody sharing the screen so we can show what we've done on the vocabulary.
Yep. Good.
At CDCon, because that one was quite talky, that session. So if you reuse anything from there.
You mean did we show some presentation there? No, we didn't, did we? We just
talked.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Or what
that triggered people, so
I guess KubeCon is larger than CDCon, so of course we could attract more people and we could expect more questions maybe. We might not be able to answer them, of course, in 30 minutes. Was it something specific you had in mind, Matthias, on what to?
No, it was just if you're unsure what to do, borrow ideas from CDCon, because that went really well. It was kind of like throwing out ideas.
Yep. It was in June, I believe. Good input. Let's move on then. I didn't add anything for blog posts or presentations. There is no upcoming presentation that I'm aware of, at least. Should we plan for some presentation to us? No.
No, I mean, I think that at some point, once we get all these pieces together, we probably want to present to the TOC.
Of course, of course.
So we
Yes.
might want to be just starting to think about what that's going to look like.
Yeah. I guess that's the that's for the project proposal as well. Then, or is it? Do you think mainly for the project proposal, or mainly for something else? To the TOC, I mean.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Good point.
we should always keep in mind, let's just put this as a note in there. There is a CD Foundation online meetup. I'm not going to be running it next year. It'll be somebody from the ambassador program is going to take it over, but we should try to get on the calendar for that as well.
So is that schedule filled for the rest of this year, or?
It's not. For the rest of this year, yes. We're not going to do one in December because it's really slow. We have November's already scheduled, and then the ambassador program is going to take it over as of January 1st. I'm not sure how that's going to get how that's going to get put together, but we should just keep it in mind. And Garima Bajpai would be somebody that we could reach out to get on the schedule. They'll announce who's taking that over, I'm assuming, in the next month or so.
Yep.
And really, and part of that CDF online meetup, I've tried, and I've actually had some success with it, but I've really focused on trying to do topics that would attract the end user community. So I've had a lot of I've tried to bring in end user types. And they do actually really great presentations, by the way. But whatever presentation we do, it should be to start getting that end user community interested and potentially involved in the event SIG. There is a push in general to bring in more end users into the community. So I think we have to start thinking about how we present this to end users so they start understanding what an event-driven, what CD events are, because a lot of people really don't understand it yet.
Yeah, that's reasonable. So I guess we should have something a bit more in place before showing too
Yes,
broad.
absolutely, absolutely. I think we should have our, our names already down, which had, we're pulling all the pieces together now, so I don't think it'll take us much time, but it'd be nice to get on the schedule for somewhere around April, March, April timeframe.
Great. So let's move on so we can get some more discussions on the design discussions. We've had this SPDX for some time in the agenda, but never came to it in previous meetings. So I don't intend to do much with it right now, more than spread these links and just mention that I don't know if you know, but the SPDX has become a bill of materials standard nowadays. So of course it's not maybe, well, it might be the only available standard, but it's maybe not the only way we should do things. But since it's a standard, I think we should actually try to adhere to it. At least if we don't, we should state why or something like that. So exactly what the next steps would be with that, I can't really say now. But when discussing names and stuff in our events, I would say that we should look into this specification and try to follow whatever has come up there. There is also an examples repo that I just looked into earlier today as well on what the SPDX files could look like. I looked at one example in here, I believe. So it seems they have their own format, like a key value format, more or less, with some kind of interesting way to describe lists and stuff like that. So this is what their format looks like, and then they have these specified keys for all different parameters that you could be interested in the BOM. I guess it would be interesting for you in Ortelius project. I guess you're quite aware of it as well.
Yes,
since
yeah.
you're more or less
Steve's been really looking at this part of it, so it does make it an interesting anything that, because we're bringing in those the SPDX info based on a microservice and then rolling it up to the application level. So you have an application BOM.
Nice, sounds good. So do we have any ideas what we should do next when it comes to SPDX? I don't know, I think Matthias, you have read up a bit more on SPDX than I might have. Have you got any ideas on what we could do next when it comes to SPDX alignment or something like that?
Not on top of my head, really.
Okay. Anyone else who has some idea on how we should proceed, or should we just keep it in the back of our heads and say that? Yeah.
I think the next time Steve's on this call, we should quiz him because I know he's put his head into it.
And this
Okay.
is not exactly related to cloud events per se, but since you're asking, and it's in our general space of considering interoperability, Gareth Rushgrove from SNCC actually gave a really good talk on SBOMs at a recent UK Kubernetes Community Days. And about halfway into the talk, he started discussing how one of the ways, one area in which standardization could really be improved for SBOMs is when we think about how do we have specs for how we describe access to them. So similar to how for containers we had the OCI distribution specification, and these specs will help answer questions around like how do we store them, how do we keep them up to date, how do we know what the latest versions are, things like that. And so I don't know if that's something you all would be interested in considering, but it's been raised as a potential thing we would talk about in the interoperability SIG. And I just feel like we're all swimming in a very similar areas. So just thought I'd mention that.
So yeah, that's good. I guess maybe I'll propose that we start with it in the interoperability SIG, and then we see if we should take it over here or something like that, or if we should. I guess it's not just about events then, of course, it's more broad than so. Since it's about SBOMs in general, I guess.
Yes.
So I think let's start with discussing it first in the interop SIG, and then we can see if we should have a detailed discussion in this SIG as well about it, or.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to raise it, should any of you have an interest in that area, that this was something we would probably start going deeper into, and that, of course, you're all welcome, and it is good to share our ideas back and forth.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for that input. Okay. Anything else on on SPDX we should bring in? I'll put this as an action on Steve then. I'm not sure. I think he has ideas, or you thought, Tracy. So let's hope he has some ideas.
He has. He's been thinking about it.
That's good. Thanks.
He's been thinking about it because it's a topic in Ortelia, so I think he's going to have some ideas of what if we want to have some kind of event that would do some kind of standard update or understand. We'll talk to him about it.
Great, sounds good. So next on the agenda, then just a few minutes left, but next is on these node events in Jenkins, or the environment type events that you talked about on the vocabulary meeting, Matthias. I think it might be valuable to have Shruti here when we discuss it, but there is a Slack post and I linked it here, so you can read if you haven't already and comment on it. So yeah, we should be active, I would say, in this area as well, as much as possible, discussing this with Jenkins, because it's very valuable for us to be aligned with that Jenkins plugin, I think. So let's try to be there. I don't know if we should come back to this on a later meeting, than if Shruti will be here. This is, to me, this is a bit more detail, of course, about the protocol itself or the specification. So maybe it should actually participate, or it should land on the vocabulary meeting. I think more than in this SIG, maybe on specific event types and so on. So I think that falls more naturally onto the vocabulary meeting, if we should have a good division of concerns in the different meetings. So we'll see if we come back to it. It's only 2 minutes, so I guess we might not have time to look into any of these discussions again. Sorry for that. Or is it any low-hanging fruit, do you think, Matthias, if you've been part of this a bit more than I have, or someone else, that we could maybe just say something about?
Not that I can name. On 2 minutes at least.
Yeah, I get it. Just then a shout out to everyone that please involve yourselves in these discussions so we make it a good specification. And that shout out is not least meant to myself. I have been far too little involved in those discussions, I must admit. So I should try to get some more time to do that. So please go there. Any other final thoughts on the last minute now? Kara just left the meeting. Yeah, so maybe I'm host of the meeting now, since Kara made me host. Okay, whatever. I think that marks the end of our SIG meeting today. So thanks for attending, and see you on KubeCon then, on the booth, or in 2 weeks, whenever.
Come visit me at 1 o'clock Pacific time today at the booth and see how it works.
Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah,
All
I'll see
right,
if
thank
I'm
you.
awake by then. Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye all.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.